If you're thinking about putting up a new fence, or like me, replacing an existing one, then you have a number of choices in the materials you use and the final look of that fence. So today I'm going to run you through some alternatives of what that fence can be and the various costs, whether you use traditional materials like wood or concrete or something you've probably not seen before. I'm just coming up to completely replacing my timber side fence, which blew down in the wind just before Christmas last year. So it's an opportunity for me to think about how I want that new fence to look in that part of the garden, and to change the materials to something more durable that hopefully will last a lot longer than the first one did. But at the same time, I still quite like timber fences. I live out of town on the edge of the country, so timber fences and fence posts like this fit in quite nicely with my surroundings, and they're still really quite cheap. A timber 4x4 fence post like this, 8 foot long, treated, I can still pick up at my local sawmill for around £14, which is about the cheapest I can find a fence post. And they're relatively light, fairly easy to put in, so I like using them. However, they do have one main drawback, and that is they rot. Yes, even treated timber has a tendency to rot in that top 4 to 6 inches under the surface, because that's where you're going to get oxygen, moisture and fungi in nice quantities at various times of the year that will gradually eat your timber post away. Even if it's treated, it's not going to last forever. So expect after a few years that first 4 to 6 inches becoming very soft, just like my posts in various parts of the garden where I've had to put concrete spurs in to support them. I've added new posts, and that's exactly why I'm looking into different types of fencing at the moment, so I can replace that whole run. Now, there is a couple of things that we can do to help with timber posts, one of which is what I've done here, which is actually to paint the section that's going to be in the ground with bitumen paint. Now, this is definitely going to help because it's going to repel a lot of the water, and it will probably lengthen the life of your post. When I say probably, the problem with it is when the post splits. And you notice I say when, not if, because at some point, if you look at this other post, you'll see that these sort of posts have a tendency to split. If they're not split by the time you put them in the ground, then they definitely will be in the first year or so, when they either dry out from the tannalizing process or sucking up moisture from the ground, which means as soon as it splits, that bitumen paint is not doing anything. Moisture is going to get into that split very quickly. I'm sure it extends the life of the post, but not by very much. But there is another product that you can use to help, and it's called Post Saver. What it is, it's a bitumen based wrap that you wrap round the bottom of your post, the bit that's going to go into the ground, and then this keeps away oxygen, moisture and fungi, all those things that essentially are going to rot your post, giving your post a lot longer life. Now, it does that because this material is essentially like a heat shrink, and then this bitumen on the inside, as you apply it and heat it up, this melts and then sticks to the timber as well. So the whole thing gets stuck to the timber, essentially meaning that you can't get water or anything in there, and even if it splits, you've still got this as a protection barrier. Now, I'm not sponsored by these people, but I think this is a great product. I'll put a link in the description below where you can find it on Amazon, and I'll put a link up here. And let me explain to you how you install it. So I've got my post I want to protect, and I'm going to sink this into the ground 2 foot or 600 mil. So I've got a bit of a mark there where the surface of the ground is going to be. Then I put another mark 3 inches above it, because that's where this wrap actually starts. It starts 75 mil above ground. So it really protects that area that's going to get lots of moisture and muddy and splashed and all that. And the first thing you do is you just staple it in place, just to hold it in place. And then you just wrap it around until it overlaps by one side. Now, you can get sleeves that do the same thing. Now, sleeves you can get for different size posts, but I quite like the wrap because it means that whatever shape and size I've got, I can actually still make it fit. And then with a heat gun or a flame, I'm just using a very basic hot air gun today, I'm going to heat this up. That outside plastic is going to shrink like a shrink wrap, and inside that bitumen is going to melt and stick everything together. So even if it does split, there's no way that any moisture is going to get into this timber. The section you overlap is actually the last section you do. So I'm going to turn it upside down and then very gently start heating from the top. I found it best to be on the cautious side when doing this, because if you overheat an area, you can burn through the outer sleeve. So you need to keep moving, and you can always come back to a section and reheat it again. The manufacturer also recommends using a roller at this stage to make 100% sure that the sleeve is in contact with the bitumen and the wood inside. It doesn't take long to heat all four sides, but if you had lots of these to do, you'd probably be better off with some sort of blowtorch. So what I've ended up with now is a really sticky type of bandage on this timber, where inside all the bitumen has melted and stuck to the wood, and on the outside I've still got this plastic wrap that's undamaged. And I don't know if you can see, but I've still got like a liquefied type bitumen on the inside of this, because it's still hot as I've heated it up. In time that will cool down and go pretty solid. And at the moment, until another technology comes along, that is probably the best you're going to get to help your longevity of timber posts. But wouldn't it be nice to use a material that doesn't rot? A bit like concrete, I suppose. Well, concrete posts and gravel boards have been around for ages. They remind me of all those fences in all the back gardens in the street that I grew up in the 70s. And if they're made properly, they'll last just about forever, as long as they've got the right cover. Now, the cover is the amount of concrete in front of the reinforcement bars that run in the middle of this post. If you haven't got enough cover, or you've got some damage, then you can get moisture going through to that rebar in the middle. That starts rusting, then it blows off the concrete, then you've got a major problem. But if you've got a solid post, then potentially it could last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. The same can't be said necessarily for the timber panel in between the posts, but if it's built right, then that can always be slid out and a new one popped inside. So these are quite durable. However, they do have their drawbacks. And the first one is its weight. This post in itself, oh, I can just about lift. I've measured this. This is about 45 kilograms, equivalent to 2 bags of cement. So there's only so much lifting of one of these you can do. And as I've been moving this around the garden, you'll see that I'm actually using a trolley, because 45 kilograms is quite a significant load. Then even more challenging when you finally come to fix it and you're trying to maneuver it so it's millimetre perfect, both in line and level, especially if you're using a concrete gravel board stuck into the bottom, becomes almost impossible, especially if you're trying to put up a fence on your own. And secondly, the cost of these isn't cheap. Now, these sort of fence posts are at least twice the cost of a timber fence post. Then, to do the job properly, you need to put in a concrete gravel board, which traditionally costs about as much as the post as well. So this isn't a cheap alternative, although it does mean that you have got quite a durable fence. And finally, for me, I just don't really like the look of concrete fence posts and gravel boards. It doesn't really suit the environment I'm in at the moment. And it just reminds me of the 1970s, where everyone was taking out their old wooden posts and putting these sort of fences in. So wouldn't it be nice if we could find a material that's as durable as concrete, it's going to last forever, nice and light, so I can actually install it myself, and something fairly modern that's going to match my house? Well, one does exist, and this is it. Not my bifold doors, this. This is called DuraPost, and it's essentially a steel fence post that's powder coated. It comes in different colours. I've obviously got it in the anthracite grey. The shape of it is an H section or I section, which is the same shapes as beams and columns that we use in construction, which give the maximum amount of strength for the least amount of steel. Now, size-wise, this is just over 2 inches square, with a clear 2-inch gap between the front and back flange, which spookily enough is just about big enough to get a traditional cant rail in that gap, and then it can be secured because you've got all these holes on one side, which means that once you put a couple of cant rails on, you can then put feather edge on the front, which is what I intend to do. So my fence is going to end up as a steel post with timber infill. And failing that, you can actually buy composite panels that fit into this gap to make a really modern composite type fence, but that's not really the look that I'm going for. And one of the main advantages of this is not just its strength, but its weight. I can just easily pick this up with one hand, which means I think I can get the fence in without getting a hernia. But if it's light and I can pick it up with one hand and it's all thin, how strong is it? Well, let's do a really non-scientific experiment. I'm just laying out a couple of blocks here so I can rest the steel post next to something that I can hold on to. And at the very centre of the span, I set up a vertical measure. So what I've done is I've supported the post at each end. This is a 2.4 metre long post. And you have to remember, 600 of that is actually going to be going into the ground. So I've got a lot longer span on this than I will have being hit by wind loading when the fence is actually in the ground. And all I'm going to do is stand on it and see what sort of deflection I get. And the measure tells me very roughly that without my weight, the top of the post starts at 112 millimetres, and with my weight then deflects to around about 120, a deflection of about 8 millimetres. So that was quite impressive. To me, that looked like less than 10 millimetre deflection on a 2.4 metre simply supported beam with my full weight on it. So once I sink 600 millimetres into the ground, only leaving 1.8 wind loading wise, I think it should be easily be able to take any sort of wind loading that a fence can, if it can take my weight, which must be 12 and a half stone. What? So these are the approximate costs for a 6 foot high, 6 foot wide fence panel using 8 foot long posts. The timber posts are the cheapest by quite some way, and not surprisingly, the powder coated steel DuraPost is the most expensive at £35 each. And although you can buy them online, I actually picked mine up at Wix. The timber gravel boards came in at £5 each for the wood, but the concrete ones are significantly more expensive. And for the timber panels, for each I've assumed a ready-made panel for the concrete fence that just slips in from the top, and cant rails and feather edge for both the timber and the steel options. Which means, unsurprisingly, the pure timber fence is the cheapest, but tends to fail after just a few years. And the modern powder-coated steel is slightly less than the concrete fence. So definitely in the right ballpark and very competitive if it works as it's supposed to. So this is the system I've decided to go for, the DuraPost. I think it's sleek, it's modern, it matches the house, and after doing that scientific test, I think it's going to be easily strong enough for what I need. As usual, I'm not sponsored by these people, which means when you see me put this in a couple of weeks' time, if anything goes wrong, if I have a problem, you'll be the first to know. You'll also notice that I've only got the timber and the steel post. The concrete post is still somewhere in the paddock. I've just got fed up with lugging it about to do this video. 45 kilograms, it's one hell of a weight. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will see you next time.